I'm going to say one thing. Fuck Trump. I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig.
He is brazenly, unapologetically stupid. He's a thug. He's a dejo. He's a pig. He's a con man. A phony bam. A fool who doesn't know what he's talking about. He does no homework. He doesn't care. He thinks this is some kind of gambling society. He doesn't pay taxes. He is a moron. General Colin Powell said it best. He is a national disaster. He is a disgrace to this country.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face, punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it's not like Donald Trump. If you care about your future, vote for it.
That made me furious. That was Robert De Niro, two-time Oscar winner, a living Hollywood legend, standing on a live stage, staring straight into the camera, delivering one of the most brutal takedowns ever seen on national television. And within hours, Donald Trump lost it. What followed next was an all-out cultural war, a street-level shouting match, a courtroom confrontation disguised as an award speech. And to be clear, everything you're about to see is real. Because what De Niro said next triggered a firestorm that hasn't gone out. And yes, it started right here. I'm gonna say one thing.
I'm gonna say one thing. Fuck Trump.
It was no longer about Trump. It was about, on live television, Robert De Niro didn't just oppose Donald Trump with vague agreement. He unleashed unapologetic rage. A clown, a fraud, a national embarrassment. But the point wasn't just name-calling. The point was what those names symbolized to millions of people. The fear that their democracy had been hijacked by someone dangerously unfit. When De Niro dropped the F-bomb, it wasn't for shock value. It was the culmination of years watching the collapse of what used to be normal. The crowd erupted, not because of the bold words, but because the time had come. If you felt like De Niro was simply saying out loud what so many had been thinking in silence, then hit that subscribe button right now, because what he said next was even more shocking. He talked about wanting to punch someone in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is the man we want as president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm really worried about is that it's heading the wrong way with someone like Donald Trump. This isn't a Hollywood script. This is a warning. When Robert De Niro said he wanted to punch Donald Trump, it wasn't about ego, it was about fear. Fear that the country was heading somewhere dark, somewhere un-American. And when he asked, is this the man we want as president? He wasn't just challenging Trump, he was challenging everyone watching. Because to De Niro, this wasn't about politics. The question was no longer just about politics. The question was whether democracy could survive another 4 years of the chaos he had unleashed. But De Niro made one thing absolutely clear. There's a difference. He's a criminal. Kamala Harris is not a criminal. Joe Biden is not the head of a crime family. And he knows that. And I'm sure a lot of his supporters know that too. Especially the Republicans who are supposed to protect this country and stand up to him. You probably thought he was just a fool, a clown, a New York sideshow. And yeah, sure, people in New York would say, well, some folks will follow him. Those in his world, sure. But the truth is, he's a classic bully. If you had a schoolyard and he walked in surrounded by other bullies, people would have to decide, are they going to stand up to him or let him call the shots and take over the playground, the basketball court, or whatever? He needs to be stopped. What do you think about this? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you agree with this perspective, drop a 1 in the comments. If you don't, type 2 and tell us why. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Thank you so much. And now let's keep watching. De Niro wasn't just angry, he was indicting. On stage, before a roaring crowd, he laid it all bare. Trump wasn't just a clown, he was a criminal. A bully who had turned politics into a playground, but not in a fun way. De Niro painted him as that loud kid running around the court, barking orders, daring anyone to challenge him. But this time someone did something. The applause wasn't just polite, it sounded like relief. I don't know if this is even possible in real life, but if I could cuff him and take him away in an orange jumpsuit, that's what I would have said right after he got elected. Give him a chance, I said. I give people the benefit of the doubt. This guy proved to be an absolute disaster. De Niro didn't just call Trump a liar or a clown. He used the words so many fear to say on television, criminal. Not just in the legal sense, but in what he represents. A rigged system, a democracy under siege. And when he said Trump didn't belong in the White House, but in court, nobody flinched. They clapped because somewhere between the jokes and the rage, a line had been crossed. Yeah, he's so stupid. Look at the dumb, habitual things he says. He's stupid. He can't even say anything smart or dumb. He's a but he's scary. And seriously, we all know this deep down. People have to go out and vote. Vote, vote, and vote again. Yeah, it was almost funny until it wasn't. De Niro called Trump stupid, yes, but then he called him terrifying. And that shift said it all, because you don't have to be smart to be dangerous. Sometimes all it takes is power, a microphone, and a crowd that stops asking questions. That's when De Niro dropped the jokes and delivered the message. Vote like democracy depends on it. Because this time it just might. So how did Trump react? Let's just say he's not exactly like a tough guy. What came next was weak, awkward, and made everything worse. You're going to want to see this. This guy should not be president, period. And when you say that out loud, the folks at Fox come for you. I remember when Tony got up there and cursed at you, tore into you like that. Let me just say this. We're in a moment in life. He came along and said a lot of things, did a lot of things. And we keep saying, this is terrible. We're in a terrible situation. We're in a terrible situation. And this guy just keeps talking and talking and talking, and he never stops. Trump tried to hit back, calling De Niro a washed-up actor, a classic move. But De Niro didn't even flinch. Instead, he called Trump what he truly believes he is, a gangster. Not in the movie sense, in the real-world sense. Someone who breaks the rules, never gets held accountable. And the scariest part? He wasn't wrong. Trump keeps doing what he does, and somehow nobody stops him. To me, he's something even worse. He's sick. He's truly a sick man, someone who somehow managed to worm his way into our system. And I'm tired of calling him names, I really am. He should never be anywhere near the presidency. He's a fake president. So now, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? Well, he calls everything fake because he knows he's fake. He's projecting. He exaggerates everything, right? Blame them for what you know you did deep down. I don't want to get too psychological here, but De Niro didn't call Trump a fake president just to insult him. It was a diagnosis. A man who amplifies every one of his flaws and somehow still finds people willing to follow. And the truly shocking part? He's not the only one who sees it. 83% think he's guilty, 60% say he's unfit. So the question lingers, and it's not rhetorical. How long will America keep rewarding this level of chaos? I hate bullies, the kind who use brute strength to push others down. They think they can seize power and cling to it by threatening the rest of us. Sadly, sometimes it works, but mostly it doesn't. And now we have Trump. He's a man obsessed with intimidation and revenge. He'll prosecute. He'll jail you for having an abortion. He'll gut your Medicare and Social Security. He'll deport you. He'll send troops after you if you speak out. The crowd wasn't cheering because of a dramatic line. They were cheering because it was time. If you felt like Dyro was simply shouting what millions have quietly thought, then hit subscribe now, because what he's about to say next is even more shocking. He talks about wanting to punch someone in the face. Well, I want to punch him in the face. This is the man we want to be president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction this country is heading. And what I'm deeply, deeply worried about is that it could go terribly wrong under someone like Donald Trump. This isn't a Hollywood script. This is a warning. When Robert De Niro said he wanted to punch Trump, it wasn't out of ego. It was out of fear. Fear that the country is spiraling into something dark, something un-American. And when he asked, "Is this really the man we want as president?" he wasn't just challenging Trump, he was challenging all of us watching. Because for De Niro, this isn't politics. To me, he's more than that. He's sick. He's really a sick person who somehow got allowed into our system. I'm tired of calling him names. He doesn't belong anywhere near the presidency. He's a fake president. And what do I mean by that? Well, he calls everything fake because he knows he's fake. So he's projecting. He just amplifies everything. Blame others for what you secretly know you're guilty of. I don't want to go too deep into psychology here, but when De Niro calls Trump a fake president, he's not trying to insult him. He's diagnosing him. A man who magnifies all his own guilt and somehow still has followers. And the real twist? He's not alone. 83% say he's guilty. 60% say he's unfit for office. So the question still hangs in the air, and it's not rhetorical. How much longer will America reward this level of chaos? I hate bullies, people who use force to crush others, who believe they can grab power and cling to it through intimidation. Sadly, sometimes it works, but most of the time, it doesn't. And now we have Trump. He thrives on intimidation, on revenge. He'll prosecute you. He'll jail you for getting an abortion. He'll strip your Medicare and Social Security. He'll deport you. He'll send in the military if you dare oppose him. You know who this is really aimed at? The MAGA politicians afraid of losing power. So afraid of him that he forces them to kiss his ring, and now they're trying to intimidate us. We're not going to let that happen. Not for 1 minute, not for 1 second. We need to show them. Being called a bully is one thing, but when the gangster from the movies looks dead into the camera and says it, that hits different. De Niro isn't performing, he's diagnosing. And the irony? Trump's entire image was built on fake toughness until someone truly tough finally stepped in. We're in a very bad situation. I remember talking to you 5-6 years ago at Spring Studios. Something was happening, and I said, "This just happened." You said, "No, it didn't." It's all about truth. And what we're seeing now, it's denial of truth everywhere. There's even Trump's speech afterward. It was insane, truly insane, and I'm very, very worried about that. I think we all are. It's crazy. So that's why I feel like I've got to do something. Say something, record it. This time, De Niro wasn't yelling. He was just looking around, saying what millions have been thinking for years. It's crazy. And when a man who's faced every mobster, villain, and con artist in Hollywood says it's gone too far, you know we're in deep. So what do you think? Do Trump's tactics still work? Or are more people finally waking up? Tell us below, because what De Niro says next might shock you even more. Do you think he pretends to be dumber than he actually is, just to fool people and make them think twice? I don't think so. Why do you think I'm curious? Why do you assume there's this huge portion of the American public that genuinely believes he cares about them? I'm completely stunned, honestly confused. I can't make sense of it. And that's what we've seen for decades. Decades, you know? It's always him. What is it? Tammy Faye and the other guy? Yeah. Same thing, you know? Give us your savings. Yeah, televangelists. Same deal. And him, it's so obvious. I just can't understand why people still fall for it. Do that many people still believe Trump actually cares about them? To De Niro, this isn't politics. It's like watching a late-night preacher sell salvation for $19.99. Only now, the pulpit is the White House lawn. The lights are brighter. The suit is more expensive. But the sales pitch, identical. De Niro's outrage isn't just about one man. It's about a system that raised him up and still shields him to this day. What comes next may finally explain why Trump is not the disease, but merely the symptom. Everything that follows comes straight from public interviews, official clips, and comments made on record. So don't go anywhere. Well, I don't even know anymore. You know, people just seem to love this outlaw persona. Except now, it's not a movie. It's a gang, a gangster, trying to run the White House like his turf. And by now, you probably realize even gangsters have codes. They have rules. They might not be your rules, but they're rules. You tell someone your word is your bond, that means something. Because sometimes, in that world, that's all you've got. This guy, he doesn't even know what that means. Even Dyro had to laugh. Real gangsters, he said, they still have rules. Trump didn't just dodge one scandal. He walked away from 6 bankruptcies, dodged taxes, conned students, sold bleach as a cure during a pandemic, and somehow still walks free. The problem isn't that Trump is dangerous because of power. It's that he's shameless. And sometimes that's worse. It's hilarious and tragic all at once. He really could have done something good. He had the spotlight, the platform. He was president. Instead, he did everything wrong. As we all know, the man's not just vain, he's selfish beyond measure. What do you think Trump is really a symptom of? Drop a comment, like this video, and hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. So what we're looking at isn't just a man, but a mirror. A mirror reflecting something deeper, darker, and disturbingly familiar. Trump in many ways is not the disease. He is the symptom. The fever that tells us something has been festering for a long, long time. He didn't create the chaos, he channeled it. He didn't invent the hatred, he capitalized on it. And for a terrifying number of people, that made him a savior, not a threat. What comes next might explain everything. The quotes, the interviews, the smug television appearances, they're not cherry-picked. They're public record. And yet, millions still cling to the fantasy. Why, boy? Because there's something seductive about the outlaw archetype, the gangster president. The myth that a man who breaks all the rules must be the only one strong enough to fix a broken game. It's absurd, but also powerful. We've seen this before, with televangelists, cult leaders, late-night miracle salesmen, and now the same pitch, but the stage is bigger, brighter, and far more dangerous. Even Dyro laughs because real gangsters, at least, have rules. They have codes. But Trump, he lies without shame. He scams students, fakes wealth, dodges taxes, sells bleach as medicine during a global pandemic, and somehow walks free. The danger isn't that Trump has power. It's that he doesn't respect any limits. And worse, he's proud of it. So yes, he's a malignant narcissist, a textbook case of antisocial personality disorder. But more than that, he's a wake-up call. And the most terrifying part, he doesn't hide any of it. His behavior is not random. It's consistent, consistently cruel, consistently self-serving, consistently dangerous. From mocking war heroes to pushing bleach as a cure, from degrading women to refusing accountability, everything about him screams disqualified. And yet, he gains worshipers, not despite it, but because of it. And that's not just disturbing, it's revelatory. It shows us something raw and unfiltered about who we are, or who some of us have become. It's not that I think they want chaos, it's that they don't understand the pond. Even in Nazi Germany, Hitler wasn't taken seriously at first. He was a clown, a loud, gesturing, ridiculous clown. Mussolini too. And yet they were allowed to rise because some part of society, some broken instinct, confused shamelessness for strength. And by the time they realized the truth, it was too late. That's the fear. That history isn't just repeating, it's mocking us while it does. When Dyro compares Trump's rise to historical figures once dismissed as clowns, he's not exaggerating, he's issuing a warning. The real danger doesn't lie in Trump himself. It lies in the disturbing number of people who don't see him as a politician at all, but as a personal savior. Policies no longer matter. Truth doesn't matter, only belief does. And when democracy turns into a fan club, the spiral downward is fast and merciless. It feels like a joke, doesn't it? This clown is running for president. No way that could happen. But we've forgotten the painful lessons of history, how other clowns were ignored until it was too late, until they were no longer jokes but tyrants. With Trump, we've been given a second chance, and no one's laughing now. The time to stop him, is now. Robert De Niro isn't just criticizing Trump. He's exposing the fear that created him. Fear of immigrants, fear of change, fear of losing a version of America that maybe never existed in the first place. And the irony? The man leading that fearful march is married to someone who crossed a border to be here. If that's not the very definition of cognitive dissonance, what is? We now have a president who acts more like a bizarre, self-declared gangster than a leader. And sure, who doesn't want to act like a gangster sometimes? But real gangsters, at least the old school kind, had something Trump never had. A code. Honor among thieves. You shake a hand, you keep your word. That's all you've got. Your word. And they respected that. Trump, he's not that guy. Not even close. And let's be honest, aren't you genuinely afraid that if he wins again, and I'm not saying that like it's some wild impossibility, if he wins again, he won't give up power? You know it. Deep down, you know he won't. When De Niro compares Trump's rise to historical figures once dismissed as clowns, he's not exaggerating. He's warning. The real danger isn't just Trump himself. It's that so many people don't see him as a politician at all. They see him as a savior. Policy no longer matters. Truth doesn't matter. What matters is belief. And when democracy becomes a fan club, it all starts to unravel. It feels like a joke. This clown is running for president. No, that can't really happen. But we've forgotten the lessons of history, lessons that show how clowns have risen before, dismissed until they became brutal tyrants. With Trump, we are being handed a second chance. And no one is laughing anymore. It's time to stop him. Robert De Niro isn't just criticizing Trump. He's pointing the finger at the fear that had built him. Fear of immigrants, fear of change, fear of losing the real America. And yet, ironically, the man leading this parade of panic married someone who crossed a border to get here. If that's not the definition of cognitive dissonance, what is? Today, we have a president who's strange, cartoonish, and proudly gangster-like. Oh, sure, everyone wants to be a great gangster now. But the thing is, even gangsters, real ones, believe in a kind of honor. You shake hands, you keep your word, that's all you've got, your word. And if you don't keep it, if you treat people like garbage, it doesn't matter what world you come from, you'll be cast out. And in that world, it's even tougher. Once upon a time, we taught children how to think critically. Now we teach them how to repost memes. De Niro's not just mocking Trump's gangster cosplay. He's warning us. We are losing our ability to tell the difference between who's pretending and who's just plain wrong. And in a world of constant misinformation, the con artist doesn't even have to lie anymore. When De Niro compared Trump's rise to historical figures once dismissed as clowns, he wasn't exaggerating. He was warning us. The real danger isn't just Trump himself. It's the fact that so many people no longer see him as a politician, but as some kind of personal savior. Policies no longer matter. Truth is no longer the issue. Belief is. And when democracy becomes a fan club, everything starts to fall apart. It all feels like a joke. The clown is running for president. No way. That could never happen. We forget history's cruel pattern. Others who started as jokes rose to become brutal dictators. With Trump, we've been given a second chance, and no one's laughing anymore. It's time to stop him. Robert De Niro isn't just criticizing Trump, he's calling out the fear that gave rise to him. Fear of immigrants, fear of change, fear of losing the real America. And the cruel irony? The man leading this fearful parade is married to someone who crossed a border to get here. If that's not the very definition of cognitive dissonance, then what is? Now we have a president who's bizarre, erratic, and plays the gangster role for show. Yeah, who isn't a great gangster, he mocks. Because even real gangsters, honor among thieves, they shake hands. They keep their word. That's all they've got, their word. But Trump, he's not like that. There's genuine fear in De Niro's voice when he warns, if he wins again, and I don't say this lightly, he will not give up power. And you know what? We all know that too. Deep down, we know it. He's even said it himself. He'll never give up. And anyone still deluding themselves into believing he's some kind of gangster? It's shameful. Dyro compares the Trump family to a mob family. What? That came from you? Yes, because Trump acts like one. Always has. But Dyro's not glorifying that image. He's dismantling it. Real gangsters wouldn't think much of him, Dyro says. Even in that world, there's honor. There's accountability. You break your word. You disrespect people. Even in the underworld, that gets you exiled. In that world, failure has consequences. But in Trump's world, failure is a brand, a strategy. And the public, they eat it up. Once upon a time, we taught our children to think critically. Now we teach them how to repost a meme. Dyro isn't just criticizing Trump's costume of a gangster. He's warning us. We've lost the ability to tell who's faking it and who's just lost. And when misinformation becomes the norm, the con man doesn't even have to lie anymore. The audience does the lying for him. And things today? They're worse than during Nixon's era. Nixon looks like a Boy Scout next to Trump. We've heard Trump declare that anyone who opposes him is the enemy within. That's the language he uses. And when people react in horror, he doubles down. They've done terrible things to this country. But the irony is, he's describing himself. He is the enemy within. He's projecting every accusation outward. And that's the point. Threat, that's what it all comes back to. According to Dyro, Trump uses fear to brand everyone else the enemy, while recycling every tactic he claims to oppose. Bullying, exaggeration, division. This isn't just politics anymore. It's performance art with devastating consequences. And the scariest part? He's not even pretending anymore. In my country, we are now fighting, truly fighting, for the democracy we once took for granted. And make no mistake, this fight affects all of us. Art affects us all because it is democratic by nature. It is inclusive. It binds people together. Just like tonight, art seeks truth. It embraces diversity. And that's exactly why it's a threat. That's why we are a threat to tyrants and fascists. The self-appointed Philistine president of the United States has somehow declared himself the head of one of our leading cultural institutions. He's slashed funding for the arts, for humanities, and for education. And now he's threatening to impose a 100% tax on films made outside of the United States. Think about that for a second. You can't put a price on creativity, but apparently you can tax it. Of course, this is unacceptable. All of these attacks are unacceptable. And this is not just America's problem. It's a global crisis. Unlike a movie, we can't just sit back and watch. We have to act. And we have to act now, not with violence, but with passion and unwavering resolve. It's time for everyone who cares about freedom to organize, to protest, and when the time comes, of course, vote. Even on one of cinema's most glamorous nights, Robert De Niro couldn't look away from the real-life tragedies unfolding back home. Calling Trump America's Philistine president, he reminded the world that the crisis isn't just political, it's about values, culture, and the kind of nation we are becoming. And after everything he said, from the courtroom to the red carpet, one truth became undeniable. De Niro isn't just criticizing Trump, he's turned it into something personal, global, and impossible to ignore. From stage to courthouse steps, De Niro's message has remained consistent and unflinching. He's not tossing out clever insults. He's igniting a cultural storm, confronting Trump as the symbol of something far more dangerous. With every fiery word exposing corruption, narcissism, and moral decay, De Niro is speaking for a deeper fear shared by millions, that democracy is not guaranteed and silence is no longer an option. But whether you agree or not, the bigger question still hangs in the air. Are we listening? Because in the end, it's not about celebrity outrage or partisan divides. It's about the kind of leadership we're willing to accept and the future we're brave enough to fight for. This video discusses a televised moment in which Robert De Niro made public comments about Donald Trump, referencing past actions and statements. All content is based on verified public footage and widely reported information. We aim to present the facts and public reactions truthfully, without distortion or exaggeration. This video fully complies with YouTube's community guidelines and fair use policy concerning political commentary, analysis, and public interest. If you found this video thought-provoking or powerful, please subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.